I would do a lot more spiritual preparation beforehand, that's for sure.
What would you be more concerned about, a ghost or a demon?
For me, especially with my faith background, I'm more concerned about a demon because it's inhuman. I don't know what it wants. Whereas a ghost, especially in Catholic tradition, they're looking to often, even from the Middle Ages through modern ones, they're looking for prayers. They're looking for help. And those I can be a little bit more understanding of, but I'd still be spooked.
Do other religions, non-Catholic religions, still have the same thing? Do they have exorcists and things like that?
Some do. The Eastern Orthodox still does. They actually consider it a personal charism, so just about any priest or monk can be an exorcist. And then, of course, various Protestant denominations do. I have a lot of family who's Pentecostal, and there's plenty of exorcists in that movement, so it's something you see throughout Christianity, but maybe not so much in mainline Protestant denominations in America anymore.
What about other religions outside of the United States?
Oh, yes, absolutely. There are prayers and rituals to get rid of demons in cultures all across the world, and we even find it in ancient religions. Such as in Babylon, there were various spells or rituals you would use to keep demons away. And we inherited a lot of our exorcism rituals from Judaism, their ways of countering demons and things like that. And of course, Islam as a exorcist tradition that I'm not as familiar with, I have to say, but I do know it does exist.
In part 4 of your book, you talk about levitation. Tell me what happened.
Yes. So St. Joseph of Cupertino is probably the most famous one of these cases of levitation. He was a 17th century saint down in Naples, and he had powerful ecstasies, spiritual entrapment, where his entire being, body and soul, was caught up within God's grace. And he would sometimes, during these ecstasies, float off the ground, levitate, sometimes just a few inches, but more than a few times people saw him literally lift into the ceiling of the church or lift outside a Noah field. And this was witnessed by multiple people, including one pope. And it is a fascinating one that Padre Pio seems to have also performed in the 20th century when he was protecting his town from a bombing run during World War II, and his apparition was said to have appeared over the town telling the bombers to not bomb the town, so it's still a miracle that happens.
Let's take some calls. Let's go to Michael in St. Louis to get us started. Michael, go ahead.
Yeah, I have to just let you know, you never want to pick a fight. You just have to defend yourself. In that case, the prayer of St. Michael will do the job, but you just wait until you feel like you're backed into a corner to do something like that. It's just like punching anybody in the face. You don't want to anger them unless you feel like you need to do so.
What do you think of that, Michael?
I think there's some wisdom in that. We often say in the Catholic Church it's best to not open doors you don't understand and not take down fences till you know why they were put up.
Try not to break any of my stuff.
It's wisdom we passed on, that, you don't want to go picking fights with demons. I certainly don't go around picking fights with ghosts or demons or other spiritual entities. And I think that's, or with my fellow man, and I think that's probably the best way to live.
But don't you think it's the demon that takes the first step?
Often it is. It absolutely is. Though sometimes people do, in fact, think that they can power over or capture demons or make them bend to their will. And that's a dangerous idea, too. But a demon will, if they do come at people, that is often, they're taking the offensive, even if it is just a minor thing like temptation.
Don in Alberta, Canada is with us. Hey, Donald, go ahead.
Hi, George. Hi, Michael.
Hi.
I was raised Catholic, but I kind of left it behind because I had a problem with "Forgive me, Father, for these sins which I'm about to commit" and the Catholic Protestant thing. Anyway, so yeah, I worked for the Archangel Michael guy. Oh yeah, before I forget, George, remember when you had Kimberly on, you were talking about her eye fluttering?
Yes.
You know what? That's the easiest meditation thing I've ever found in my life. It works so fast. It's just, you can be doing, just some mundane thing and just start fluttering your eyes. And if you're used to connecting with source energy, all of a sudden it just comes in. I don't know if it deprograms it or what it does. I don't understand. I'll have to do some more research on it. But anyway, yeah, Archangel Michael, I really like him. A lot of people think he's too abrupt, but why use a finishing hammer when you can use a sledgehammer to get something done? But he works really good. But the thing is, if you develop a relationship with Archangel Michael, he'll send you off to do all kinds of crazy things, like stop people from getting stuck in the trunk of the car to pulling somebody out of an ice-cold stream or pulled out of a burning car. It's like turn here, go here, and then you arrive at your destination. So I guess my question is everything in the universe is frequency. So I understand prayer. It kind of doesn't work for me. I can't do it. But I learned to access frequency. And so if I want Archangel Michael, I go for him. Gabriel, I don't do so much with him. Jesus, well, he's working on his own stuff to help humanity evolve. So anyway, what I was wondering is once you learn, like, okay, so let's say some negative entity comes along, I always give them a warning shot, and then I would just grab onto them and I'd put them in this they call it stream of love and mercy, or I would take them up to the highest frequency because they can't handle the higher vibration. So, like, I don't. It's an interesting concept, but it works really well. I've done it tons of times. But anyway, so I guess my question is how could people learn to understand frequency to access this different points? Like everything, it's like a telephone number, right? If I want to phone into Coast Coast, I got to go on, the certain telephone number. So telephone number is just another form of frequency. So what would it take to teach people to learn how to use frequency and learn about these different planes above us, below us, whatever the case may be? What would it take to help people move forward faster using frequency rather than, like, I know prayer works for people, but to me it's like using a donkey, I shouldn't say that, a horse cart versus, going down I was going to say Tesla, but those are really
sure. No, but how do we get to that way of finding God in whatever it is we are doing, especially our daily life? I think I can understand that, and I'm still working on that answer, I'm afraid to say.
Are you getting close, Michael?
We'll see. I think some days I feel a lot further than other days.
You say that with some trepidation.
Oh, it feels like there's been a lot of things going on in my life that have been really hectic and strange, and one of the things we have to learn, I think especially, is how do we communicate and talk to God through those suffering times, through those hard times. And man, it's a lot to learn, but I've gotten some hope and some reassurance, especially through the saints and especially through the prayers of my fellow parishioners who, God love them, God bless every Catholic grandmother.
Would you ever be an exorcist if you were asked?
Well, for the Catholic Church, you would have to be a priest, so that would be asking me to be a priest, I would think. But if they asked me to, and really asked me to at this age, yeah, I would consider it.
You would.
I would have to really pray about it, and I think similar to Father Morse and other exorcists, like, there's probably someone better. Go to them.
East of the Rockies, Joe's with us in Long Island, New York. Hey, Joseph.
Hi, Michael. Yeah, a couple of quick questions. First on, this idea of the devil disguising himself as an angel of light. Really subtly counterfeiting things. I'll give you all you need. So it seems like the devil's supplying the commodities, and it's like not clear, but he is actually just counterfeitting the authenticity of the Lord. So I'd ask you about how you see that out there. And the second thing is just you mentioned Padre Pio protecting the bombing. I'd ask you about Padre Pio's ministry a little bit, and also about how people, say for example you get into a car. When you're younger, you realize this is very dangerous. You suppress that. But then maybe you eliminate the idea of praying for protection in certain realms like that, where it is, dangerous, and it maybe does warrant the prayer of protection,
Yeah, absolutely. I think a prayer of protection, we were talking about St. Michael the Archangel, who's a powerful patron in my life, and one I like to turn to, especially for what we learn from Catholic history is he's not just for fighting demons or protecting us in battle. He's also for helping us turn away plagues to find healing and to ultimately reconcile to God. And that's something that I think is a very powerful reminder, and I'm always thankful for guys like Padre Pio who show that.
How many miracles do these saints need to perform to become a saint? Just one?
They need to perform, I believe the number is still 3 officially to become a fully fledged canonized saint.
And witnessed.
Yes, it has to be witnessed, and there also has to be usually no scientific or medical explanation for it.
Let's go to Cornelius in Louisiana. Hello there, Cornelius.
Hey there, George and Michael. I think we both have biblical names there, Michael. They call me the God Guns, the Gold Man, the Bible Bullets and Beans Man, and down here in Hoodoo, and Udoo, Louisiana. I was just telling something with a call screener. I read the Bible, and I try to tell people, start out with the Lord's Prayer, which is Matthew 6, then the prayer of protection is Psalm 91, and then there are 31 Proverbs, so there's one for every day of the month, no matter what day it is. Today is Tuesday the 19th, and I'm going to add prayer for Joe in Boston, Mass. He said he has prostate cancer. He's trying to get a hold of John in Wisconsin. I need prayer too, George. They're trying to lock me up again, so I got to go to court in the morning at 9 o'clock. So I'm asking for all the prayer warriors
Pray for you.
the Coast AM to pray for me. George knows that they're trying to set me up. They said I created a disturbance in the city council meeting at Alexandria City Council. Go to YouTube, Cornelius Lawson White. You'll see it, Michael, and you'll see a demon when I'm talking about the dead. And so he was a black Knights Templar and a black 33rd degree Mason. But my question for you, and I was telling Tommy, I know you said there was an African American woman that they want to make a saint. Are there any African American males that they want to make a saint? And my second question, there's a show on CBS, I don't know if it's gone to Paramount now, called Evil, where a black priest was working with this white female psychologist to find out if the prisoners were demon possessed or they were actually crazy. So I'm going to ask you if you've ever seen that show. God bless Coast to Coast AM. God bless you, George, and God bless you, Mike.
Good luck, Cornelius, and I assume if we don't hear from you for a while, they've taken you away. Go ahead.
Oh, no, God bless you, Cornelius. And I haven't seen that show yet, but there are, in fact, several African-American males who are being considered for sainthood, one of whom is Venerable Augustus Tolton, who was a Chicago area priest and the first black priest in the United States. And he is up for canonization. And then my hometown hero in Denver is servant of God Julia Greeley, who was a former slave, became a servant to one of the governors here in Colorado, and then became a sort of St. Francis to the Denver area, especially to the working class. And so she has been transferred to the cathedral, and her cause of canonization is being considered.
Are there any black saints right now?
Oh, yes, there are many. Many.
I thought so, yeah. Next up, let's go to Joe in Monterey, California. Hello, Joseph.
Thank you for taking my call, George.
Sure.
I don't have many questions. Okay.
Good, Joe, because we don't have that much time for you.
Right now, my phone isn't so good, but I will just get down to the point where I do exorcisms. I work with a spiritual hierarchy. Every day I call upon angels, the armies of angels. I work with Michael the Archangel, okay, or Saint Michael the Archangel, actually. And he has armies. We are never alone. I don't do the exorcisms that the church do. For me, it's a very happy moment, especially for the demon, because he's going, or it is going into the light. It's going to be transformed or healed. I don't know what the church has to say about psychics who can see what they're doing, and but it is a major plus. Also, I may sound a little blasé about this, but I guarantee you that anyone who's approaching this unknown, they will be raked over the coals and maybe even injured or dead. They are real. Some of them are very powerful, and there are monsters on the astral plane, and there is a lot more than demons. Now, I would like to say that people can become saints, obviously. They can do miracles, or at least they can know how to use the Holy Spirit, because everything is done through the Holy Spirit. There are angels on the planet. They incarnate. I know of one or two that are archangels. They know us, people who work with the hierarchy. They know us. There are other beings that incarnate here. You will never recognize them unless they tell you. Also, that a person can become an angel. Now, this is not knowledge that the church would like to say, but people can become angels as well as can become saints. It's a lot of work. It's not something you're going to put on your resume. And if you survive it, and they do, you're going to know things that people would never believe. I want to thank you, George, for having this man on your show.
Absolutely, Joe. Thank you. We're going to take a short break, Michael, and come back and take final calls with you right here on Coast to Coast AM. The name of the book, Weird Catholic Handbook. And welcome back. George Norrie back with Michael Litchens, our final segment as we talk about Weird Catholic Handbook. Once again, Michael, where do people get the book?
They can get it at Sophia Institute Press, sophiainstitute.com, or from any of your local Catholic bookstores or wherever you like to buy books.
Do you have it on Amazon?
We do have it on Amazon. It's even got a Kindle edition, and we're working on an Audible edition.
Excellent. And what are you working on now?
I'm debating what to work on now. I have a novel in me, but I'm also working on a book that I hope will be a look at American saints, some of whom we talked about that are more recent ones.
You're pretty much an expert on exorcisms, aren't you?
I've read a lot about it. I still have far more to learn. I don't even remember my Latin these days, but I've read a lot about especially modern exorcists.
Why does invoking the name of Jesus tend to scare the demon away?
It does it because he's the one who conquered death and who was the only one that was able to go into hell and come back with more people. We, as the Catholic Church, and a lot of other churches too, believe that Christ went into hell, broke down the door, took out innocent souls, and left a mark on the whole place. So he is just a terror to them, being both God and man and all holy.
Let's go to final calls now. Tim in Canada to get us started. Hey, Tim, go ahead.
Hey, gentlemen. Hey, Michael, George doesn't believe in coincidences, and I've got a miracle story for you, and it was 25 years ago this month on Coast to Coast. It was Art Bell, Major Ed Dames, and I was a call-in. It was kind of a unusual thing, but they'd been talking a little bit earlier about the golf hole that went down in the Lear jet. You know, the carbon monoxide poisoning, whatever, and the jet went down. And I had to be online. It was the early days of the internet. I was online, and I found that there was a missing jet after that was missing on Christmas Eve. You know, sacred night. Yeah, Christmas Eve. And there was just two, the pilot, co-pilot aboard. And they still weren't found, and this is coming up on 3 years. So I mentioned that. Art thought it'd be an idea to do a project using that information. And Ed James said, absolutely, remote viewing will find the plane. That sounds like an easy project. So I gave Art all my information, and we passed along stuff. And the show used to go to 4 o'clock in the morning back then. So I hung up after we figured all this out at about 5 to 4. So it was the end of the program, like we're getting close to now. I'm sitting outside under a halo around the moon. It's -5 here in Cold Lake, Alberta. And it just dawned on me, it's my birthday. It's my 70th birthday, 19th Tuesday. And I got
happy birthday.
Also. Thank you. I got really close to coast, so that's a miracle. So anyways, to get back to the story, I'll make it fast. Hung up the phone 5 to 4, and ex-military policeman like Cornwallis, or Corny, and went to bed. Phone's by my bed, sound asleep. So at about 11 o'clock in the morning, the phone rings, and it's beside the bed. Rings a couple times, I wake up, I grab it, I go, hello? And it was, oh, Jim, you know who this is? And I went, well, sounds like Art Bell. It's Art Bell! He said, have you turned on the news? Have you turned on the news? I said, you woke me up. I've been sleeping since the program. He said, they found the missing Lear jet. They found it this morning. Impossible. He said, you're on the show tonight, and I'm getting Ed back. You're on the show tonight, so we're back on that night. And that jet was found by a forestry worker in New Hampshire later that morning. So it was 4 o'clock at Mountain Time. Before, that'd be 5, 6. It probably was around 9 o'clock in the morning and hit the news right off the bat. Isn't that?
It was 1999 with Payne Stewart, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Payne Stewart was the guy that went down in the Lear jet that fogged over. They had an F-16 pilot cruising on beside him until it ran out of fuel and went down. But these guys were just 2 pilots in the Lear jet, New Hampshire, Christmas Eve, coming into I think their destination was Lebanon. And they went down the mountains, and it was just about 3 years to the day. And we just simply said, when I went back on the air that night, Ed Dames said, hey, you bought my course and all that, and VHF course, and I still have it. It's still wrapped. I never opened it. Anybody wants to buy it. But I said, no. I said, Christmas Eve is a sacred night. And we asked for closure for the family. And I said, these radio waves go out into space, and you know what? We were heard, and we asked for a miracle, and it was delivered.
Fantastic. Thank you, Tim, and happy birthday to you. These are great stories, Michael.
No, so many cool things have happened in the history of this show. I'm always amazed.
You could literally write another book from the stories from this show.
Oh, yeah. Oh, several books. Probably a small bookshelf.
Next up, we've got John in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Hey, John, go ahead.
George, Michael, thanks for taking my call. I have a Padre Pio story to share with you.
All right.
And this was with my uncle and my father, brother-in-laws, and they were best of friends. My father was a stained glass artist here in Pittsburgh, and my uncle was a carpenter. So and sometimes they collaborated. But my uncle became ill, and he was going to one doctor after the other, and trying to get relief, and one of the doctors was telling him to sit in front of a blue light. I mean, it was almost like he had no relief, and he started to pray to Padre Pio, and one night, I guess his ailment that he had, and it ended up being non-Hodgkin. He was completely cured, and one night he was woken up, and he to the smell of aroma in his bedroom, and he thought my aunt maybe one of her perfume bottles maybe spilled over, and then he heard this voice strong voice say, "Now what are you going to do?" And he thought, "My goodness, this is." He was already praying to Padre Pio, so I think he immediately knew that it was him. And so some time went by, and the same thing reoccurred maybe weeks later, and the smell of perfume and the voice, "Now what are you going to do?" So once again, and so what he did was he printed up these 8x10 photographs of Padre Pio, and he made these beautiful, he was a carpenter, he made these beautiful wooden frames, and got a prayer book about the saints, and started to pass them out, and, of course, family and friends, and started to just spread the word and tell the story. And each of us, like we've had instances where we've felt sick or we've prayed to Padre Pio, and it seems like our prayers were answered immediately. So I just wanted to share that story with you.
Thank you, and thank you especially for sharing the particular smell that was noticed. That's a phenomenon called the odor of sanctity. Most famously, it happens with St. Teresa and roses, but that's just fascinating that that's happened. And also, I'm so glad your prayers were answered. God bless you all.
Next up, Linda's with us in Spokane, Washington. Hello, Linda. Linda, you with us? Linda is no longer with us. Let's go to Don in Kent, Ohio. Hey, Donald, go ahead.
Thank you so much, Brother George, for taking my call. And,
Sure.
I grew up Roman Catholic, and well, first of all, I want to wish Cornelius, my prayers with you, buddy. You got to overcome that resistance there. But Martin Luther, when he was hiding out in the castle, was translating the Vatican the Bible basically. And what it was, he was translating it into German, and he had a confrontation with Satan himself. And he threw an inkwell at Satan. And I wondered, why would, again, more problems, asking questions, but why would Satan protect the Catholic Church?
Why?
I don't think he would he, Michael?
No, I don't think he would. He would protect. He might protect certain people, certain powers, certain figures in it, but he doesn't want any form of church resistance against him. So I can't imagine he would. But yeah,
it would be trickery if it was.
No, it absolutely would be. And like I said, he might protect some people who are like in the church for power or money or things like that. But even then, the protection of the devil doesn't really go far.
First-time caller Dan is with us in the state of Washington. Daniel, go ahead.
Hey, Michael, good to talk to you. And George, how you doing?
Good, Danny. Thank you.
I got a couple of questions and a hair-raising deliverance experience that I went through with my girlfriend. Which one would you like to hear? You want the questions or the experience?
Give us the experience.
Okay, well, this was in 1984, 85. And my girlfriend Tina, way back then, her mother, her previous boyfriend before me, his mother was a witch, and she initiated her into satanic witchcraft. And then I met her after that had happened, and I didn't know it at the time, but really weird stuff was happening throughout my relationship with her. And I was like, man, something's wrong with this girl. But I really loved her. She was a really nice person. And I told my mom about it and stuff. And my mom knew a layperson that did deliverance practice. It's like an exorcism, but this is like the layperson version.
Yes.
And we set up a time to take her to this guy. And we got her in the car, we drove over there, and I mean, from the very moment we were on the way there, weird stuff she was behaving really weird, like she she acted like she didn't know where she was going or where we were taking her. And then when we arrived at the house, she said, come on, we're just going to go talk to Steve, this guy. And she's like, we got her out the car. It was like trying to drag a bull into a pen trying to get her into that house. She would not go into the house because apparently the demons knew what was going on. Because we just said, hey, we're going to go talk to this guy. He's going to pray for you and stuff. And she was like, earlier on, which she was all okay with it. But as soon as we got there, it was really, really difficult to get her even into the house. So we get her into the house, and we calm her down. And the guy that was doing the deliverance, he lays her down on a comfortable location on a couch or whatever. And he starts doing the deliverance prayer. First off, you do the prayer and you request that God send angels to assist in the deliverance process of getting the demons out. And you don't have to know the name of an angel. You don't have to call on a specific angel for this to work in our version.
We haven't hit target yet.
As soon as it started, she was kind of went into like a really weird, like a trance. I mean, she recited a prayer for us right when she was laying down, and she started, agreeing that yes, I would like to have the Lord take the spirits out of me. But as soon as he started to ask who the names of these spirits were, she really started getting really bizarre, upset, growling, and saying no, and then very rough voices started coming out of her, and the guy's like trying to get the name of the demons, and they didn't want to give their names. And then what happened is they, instead of doing that, they said that you can't do anything to save her because she is ours. And those were like, a voice came out of her that wasn't her voice that was saying that she's ours. We're going to take her. And they, one of the weird things that they said is that we're going to make her, she smoked cigarettes at the time. She said, we're going to make her smoke these cigarettes till she dies and drowns in her own blood. I'm like, wow, that's really a weird thing for a demon to say out of somebody. But when you go into that situation where someone's going through this process, this is my first time on this I ever experienced this. You realize that you're hearing an entity that you can't see, and you're hearing like this intelligence coming at you that you're like, whoa, these things are real. I mean, it really, if you don't believe in demons or you don't believe in God, go to a deliverance or an exorcism. Catholics probably don't let regular people go to an exorcism.
And witness one of those things. Michael, we're out of time. Keep in touch, all right?
Thank you so much, George. It's a joy as always.
The name of the book, Weird Catholic Handbook by Michael Lickens, and it's a fascinating book. For Dan Galante, Tom Danheiser, Lex Lonehood, Sean Ladouceur, Stephanie Smith, Chris Boros,
We'll
Tim
start
Bonneau.
off with the basics. There are 6 populated sectors on Mars: Parker, Dust, Badlands, Oasis, the Free Fire Zone, and Eos, all of which are controlled by the Earth Defense Force. Our goal is to liberate all 6 sectors, driving the EDF off the planet. There's only one problem. The EDF is a professional military organization. They've got the money, the training, and the firepower to take us down. Direct assaults are suicide. We need to hit their weak points, attack them when they least expect it, destroy high-value targets, and then get the hell out of there. If you ever need to hide from the EDF, restock ammo, or choose a different set of weapons for your field work, safe houses are set up throughout the world. Any available safe house will be marked on your map. Good luck. Welcome to the... We don't have access to the same supply lines as the EDF. We can steal their guns, but that's not enough. Sam is an engineer working for the Red Faction. She's come up with ways to improvise weapons from mining equipment and industrial tools, but she needs raw materials. That's where salvage comes in. When you destroy things, you'll often see salvage on the ground afterward. Collect it and bring it to Sam. The more salvage you supply her with, the better the equipment she'll be able to provide. Abandoned buildings are good sources of salvage, as are any of those high-tech EDF structures. Bring them down, and bring the salvage to Sam.
To do this job right, pay attention to your surroundings and use what's in front of you. To do this job right, pay attention to your surroundings.